The day has finally arrived, ladies and gentlemen. The day we've all been waiting for, or at least the day that I've been waiting for a long time now. All battleships in World of Warships Legends from Tier 6 through the Legendary tier now have access to the Concealment mod in the third slot instead of just the RGA mod. So, after my stream yesterday, and after I got off work, I spent a lot of time messing around with a bunch of the battleships in my fleet, replacing the RGA mod with the Concealment mod, and one of them I chose to do it on is the Legendary tier German battleship Großer Kurfürst, which, if you remember the last time I featured this ship, I talked about, well, I thought this ship needed a buff, and one of the main buffs that I thought this ship could benefit from is having access to the Concealment mod, because the GK's Concealment without the Concealment mod is something over 15 kilometers, which means you get pretty much insta-spotted as soon as you spawn and push out just a little bit. And the GK, being such a huge target, that means it's going to get focused down and beaten up pretty quickly. Having a little bit of extra concealment can help you get into position without being spotted so that you can take up a more advantageous point on the map from which you can acquire juicy broadsides, and that's what we're going to spend this entire game doing. With the Concealment mod on the Großer Kurfürst, and a rank 16 Kondo, he's the Japanese brawler battleship commander. As an inspiration on Henry J. Hyde, I've got the GK's concealment down to 13.1 kilometers by sea. I can actually get it down to 12.6 kilometers if I were to put Kondo and Swirsky as the inspiration on my commander, but instead of Swirsky, I've got Hipper to keep the secondary range past 10 kilometers, and 13.1 is so much better than 15 point whatever it was before the Concealment mod. In fact, I would recommend you, if you like playing battleships, go through each of the battleships you like playing the most, take off the RGA mod, and put on the Concealment mod on all of them. Why? Well, I think the Concealment mod is going to be a lot more useful to you in a lot more games than the RGA mod is. What does the RGA mod do? Well, it provides two fairly useful features, but one of them is also quite limited in the number of times you're actually going to use it. The first feature is that it increases the range at which you detect incoming enemy torpedoes. Obviously, that's a good thing if you want to dodge them. And then the second thing it does is it increases your range of guaranteed acquisition by 50%. The range of guaranteed acquisition is the range at which you will spot a ship no matter what, even if it's behind an island or inside of a smoke screen. The range at which you'll proxy spot it. And for every ship in the game that isn't running the RGA mod, that range is 2 kilometers. RGA mod makes it 3. So that's a good thing, I guess, if you're going to rush a destroyer smokescreen, but in pretty much every battleship, including the GK or even German ones with sonar, it's not always a good idea to rush a smokescreen, and if you are going to rush a smokescreen, simply do it with one of the battleships that has sonar and put concealment on instead of RGA. Concealment is going to be useful to you in almost every game, whereas I don't really think the RGA mod is at all. And not being seen as soon as you would be without the Concealment mod, I think is infinitely more useful than the RGA. So I'm gonna present to you this theory here, and this is a hill on which I will die if I must, but Concealment mod on all battleships that have it, that is the optimum way to build, not RGA mod. I can't think of a single case where I would rather have RGA mod on a battleship rather than Concealment mod, including on the German battleships, including on the GK. So what have we been doing this entire game anyway? Well, we've been sort of flanking over here to the side of the Charlie cap, and our concealment is helping us do that. Note that the GK is 14 kilometers away from us. Obviously, he's spotted by our teammates in front of him, But if we did not have the concealment mod, we ourselves would be spotted right here, and maybe this GK would be paying more attention to us. I've found that with the concealment mod on ships like this, I can put myself in positions where people don't pay as much attention to me as they otherwise might. Especially if I shoot my guns and I'm outside of my detectability range by sea, and then the firing penalty wears off and my detectability goes down to normal and I disappear. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic in a battleship. It makes other battleships and other ships just not want to shoot at you if you keep disappearing every 20 seconds after you shoot. It's wonderful. Plus, it allows you to get into positions like this. The whole entire goal of coming all the way over here is because of the fact that we've got a friendly battleship, a cruiser, and a destroyer directly north of the Charlie Cap. And the GK is pushing directly into them, meaning he's giving broadside to us, meaning we have set up a crossfire between ourselves and our teammate just by virtue of our positioning. That's what you want to do with a battleship, and the GK is pretty well suited to it. Some battleships you can take into the center of the map, as I like to do, especially with the concealment mod, think Yamato, and get nice juicy broadsides on the battleships pushing in on the enemy team. Some battleships, maybe you want to take more on a flank, like the GK, and then use it to push in whenever possible, and that's essentially what we've been trying to set up this whole game. Now that the enemy GK is deceased, the Tirpitz is the only ship left alive over here. Maybe there's another destroyer. I don't think there is, though. I think he went down. So once the Tirpitz goes down, theoretically, we should be able to take this Charlie Cap, which is something we desperately need to do, given the enemy team has 2 out of 3 of the caps, and we hold none. So they are going to be gaining points on us very quickly here. And there is a destroyer in that cap because it's still turning red even after the Tirpitz has been sunk. So we're not going to push into that cap at all. I was thinking about it, but the presence of the destroyer there tells me nope, we're not going to do it. Meanwhile, enemy Yamato pushing through the center. Note the other battleships to the north of the Bravo cap. They're sort of in between Bravo and Charlie right now. Yamato is pushing into these battleships, so he's angling toward them, or, quote, bow tanking them, which means he's giving broadside to my side of the map, so my position here is very, very advantageous if I want to sink some nice German AP into that broadside, and I do, for not 2 citadels, but I think even more than that. How many citadels? 5 citadels in total, taking that Yamato down from almost full health to basically none, and bringing my damage done total up to 180,000. We absolutely crippled that enemy battleship right there, and I don't think that I would have had as easy of a time putting myself in the position to be able to do that with the Großer Kurfürst if I didn't have concealment. I cannot overstate how happy I am that concealment mod is now available on all these battleships. This is something I have been talking about for a very long time, something I've wanted to come to the game, and I'm just so glad it's finally here. Let me know if you're as happy as I am about this in the comments section, and let me know if you have changed concealment mod to your battleships instead of RGA on any of your battleships. I think I said that very convoluted there, but you know what I'm talking about. Let me know. And remember, concealment mod is the optimum way to go. In any case, now that Yamato that I just crippled has been sent to the bottom of the sea, a Worcester is pushing out, and we still have another full health enemy Yamato on the other side of the map. But this is okay. At least I think it's okay, because I still have 78,000 hit points, which is pretty much about as many hit points as any typical Tier 7 battleship should have. In other words, I'm pretty healthy, even though I have lost a chunk of health. So if I have to push into that Yamato, well, I'm going to push into the Yamato then, and I'm going to be able to hopefully do some good damage to him. Note the concealment mod coming in handy here once more. Yamato 14.3 kilometers away from us. He does not see us until we shoot our guns, and even after we shoot our guns, we're still so far away from him that once the firing penalty wears off, we'll go back to being unspotted. although we're getting very close to our detection range right now. That's okay. We're just trying to push toward this Yamato. We're trying to go unspotted here. We want to see if we remain spotted after our firing penalty goes down, and we do. And I think we did before we got into range of the Yamato. Maybe not. Maybe when this Yamato goes behind the corner, we will be unspotted, but if not, it means there's an enemy destroyer. And it turns out there is an enemy destroyer, one with, it appears to be, exceptionally slow torpedoes. We do take 2 of those torpedoes, and they hurt quite a bit, actually. We don't have a lot of health anymore. We're switching to the high explosive now in anticipation that that enemy destroyer might be spotted, but we really need to turn away and point our stern toward the direction of the map from which those torpedoes came so that we don't take any more, because any more could be fatal. I would like it if my friendly destroyer teammate 3 kilometers in front of me maybe went to try to find that enemy destroyer, but actually I think I agree with his decision to push toward the Bravo cap more than finding that enemy destroyer. If we can take the cap and I can kill this Yamato, we should be in good shape. It's only the Yamato and that single enemy destroyer left. We've done 192,000 in this game, and we've got the high caliber medal, and we're not done doing all the damage we're going to do. Again, I don't know that my positioning in this game would have necessarily been as easy or even possible if I didn't have the concealment mod. I highly recommend you put it on there. Now, we're just sort of waiting around. What's the Yamato doing? We're spotted by the destroyer. We know he's behind us. We think maybe Yamato will push out on this side of the island, so we're going to keep our guns aimed this way. We do still have the high explosive chambered for the destroyer, but if we hit the Yamato and start a fire, it's not going to be the end of the world. We can see the plane. It looks like it originated from just behind that rock that I'm aiming at, so yep, Yamato is close. He is going to be coming around that corner, and I think he's going to be flashing us his broadside. What a shame we don't actually have the AP loaded. Let's get rid of the HE and switch back to the AP now. We get a fire on the Yamato, plus I think that was actually over 10k damage right into his bow. The German HE on these battleships, it doesn't have a huge alpha strike. I think the GK's is only 5k with its 420mm guns, but it does have excellent penetration and a pretty good fire chance at 41%. So if you find yourself shooting at an angled Yamato, for example, the HE is actually potentially a little bit better of a shell to shoot than the AP, because take a look at this AP. I mean, it does nearly 6k, but we could have done 6k and a fire straight through his bow with our high explosive, so we're going to switch back to that. Another incoming torpedo, just one of them somehow manages to hit us, and the Yamato actually takes us down, so it ends our game a little bit prematurely, but the Yamato is on fire. We're crawling up past 230,000 damage done, and we've got this Cian Yang here fighting the Summers. Cian Yang has a distinct hit points advantage in this situation. He should be able to win. He does make me a little bit nervous as he turns broadside to the Summers and does not adjust his course whatsoever, just sort of sails there flat broadside, but it's all going to work out for him. The Summers has already released his torps, so the Summers is going to go down, and we are going to end up winning this game in yet another glorious victory in the Großer Kurfürst, which is just, it's got new life in it with this concealment mod. It's much more feasible to actually position this thing well and do well with it now that it is more concealed. I played a couple games in it, and I enjoyed each one. So let me know what you think about this concealment mod change in the comments section. Give the video a thumbs up before you go. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.